Hey, this is Doug Hammett with Christian Parenting University, and I just want to encourage you to stay tuned. I'm going to reveal to you something you may already know, but if it really lays hold of your heart, I mean, it's one of those things you know in your head, but you don't know in your heart. If you grasp this, it will make all the difference in the world with those toddler temper tantrums. And this perspective change could make a major difference for you like it did for me. Well, I'm Doug Hammett with the Christian Parenting University site, and we've got some material over there that might be of some help to you. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is temper tantrums and how to deal with them. And I want to just give you a real quick insight here that was a tremendous one for me. I'll never forget when I brought my son home, my first son, from the hospital, and he was born in the 70s, and we took a look at him, and I'll tell you what, we thought, wow, we've got the perfect child here. And we were so excited. First few nights went very well. But as time went on, we began to notice that he had a few problems in his life. He wasn't quite perfect. And the more those problems began to develop, we began to realize that he indeed had a temper to him. He wanted what he wanted, and he was going to insist on getting it no matter what. Well, if you remember the Bible verse in the book of Psalms, Psalm 51, verse 5, the Bible says there, David was writing, and he said, "In sin did my mother conceive me." Now, the fact is that his parents were married when David was conceived. So it wasn't a matter of a bad relationship between his mother and his father, but indeed it was, what David was talking about was his sin nature. He was born as a sinner. Now, by this time that my first son was born, I understood the fact that indeed it is true that a child is born in sin. But you see, in my heart of hearts, I hadn't really recognized that. I was convinced that this child, because he'd come from me, I guess, maybe, this child is going to do better than all the others, and everything will be just great, if you will. Well, it didn't quite turn out that way. He had some areas that needed correcting, and in correcting those areas, it first started with me correcting my area of thought, and it was that this child ought to just do right, and to realize instead he was born as a sinner. He was born bent. Now, that doesn't mean, sin nature doesn't mean that a child's going to do all the bad things they can or the worst of evil that's possible. It just means that they're bent in the wrong direction, and they're going to often make wrong choices. That he did. But you see, it was when I began to recognize that and accept that as a fact of life for him, and realize my job as a parent was to, as Proverbs 22 says, to train him up in the way he should go. It was when I grasped that truth that the temper tantrum issue became something that I realized that I needed to take hold of and I needed to deal with. Yes, there were some things that as a parent I was responsible for in this in order to help my son through this and my subsequent children beyond that. Let me encourage you, if you would, to think about how that would completely shift your mindset when your child's melting down in a temper tantrum, to realize this is their nature, and what they need is help and guidance through this, not me losing my head and having a temper tantrum as well. It'll make a major, major difference. Well, I'm Doug Hammett from the Christian Parenting University. I want to also tell you about a short 4-minute formula that I can share with you on a video. If you click the link just below here and go to that site, you'll be able to get a hold of a video that I've done, which talks about temper tantrums, but it gives you a 4-fold formula to help you evaluate what areas need help the most in your life in order to help your son or your daughter with their temper tantrum problem. So just click that link below. Now, I've got another video coming out here in a moment. Well, I say in a moment, in just a little while, part number 3 of 5, where I'll be dealing with another subject, dealing with this temper tantrum issue that I think will be of great help and insight as well for you. Thanks so much for joining me. Goodbye.